Hi everyone, Melissa Ullman here, member of the Creative Memories design team, and I am so excited to bring you this new video showing you what is in the new Collections Buy It All bundle. So are you as excited as I am? So let's take a look and see what we have in this new Buy It All bundle. All right, so let's go ahead, and here's the box that they sent me. Let's go ahead and see what is all in it. So we've got some filler, but this is the new Natural Beginnings collection and the Buy It All bundle. So when you purchase the Buy It All bundle, you get all of these pieces. It is so awesome, you guys. So let's take a look. What should we look at first? Let's pull out our product. Of course, let's take a look at this. The new Sunrise Scallop Border Maker cartridge. So look, I love it. I love anything that it has a nice fancy edge. This would be considered an edge style because it attaches at the edge. But look at that, how awesome that is. We are actually going to create with this in just a moment, so stay with me. And then we have the Natural Beginnings embellishments. So awesome. I love the style of these. Some arrows, some leaves, some little notebook pieces for journaling. My favorite though in these are these little envelopes. Just look at how cute those can be, and you can take and put the little journaling box in there. Then you could, deck it out with maybe some arrows, maybe, maybe here, like, right, tucking that in there, putting a title or something on there. So it would work super nice with that. There's also some tags here that you could also kind of place in here. What happens if we just kind of place two of them kind of at an angle like this in there? So it's just got a cute little slot that you can slide that in. When you go to adhere it, you just want to make sure you're adhering on the bottom. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to be getting, and you can put behind here of the envelope, but you don't want to put behind the tags because you want to be able to pull those out, read them, look at them to see what they say. So it also has a package of gems and epoxies. So here we have, there's some circles, some corners. I love using the corners, some arrows. I mean, just some fun overall pieces that you can add to your embellishments. So let's slide that aside. Another one of my favorite parts of this is they have monthly title embellishments. So look at here, like cute little embellishments that have the months on them for you to place in your album. Especially if you're doing kind of an annual overall layout, those will be perfect for that. Then we have some clear stickers, and those are kind of a favorite of mine too. And we're going to be using them in the project that I'm going to be creating with you. But here, I'll just go ahead and like show you on this little tag right here. We could very easily then take this clear one and we can line it up so the clear sticker goes over the top of that. And then we can just trim it off here. So you've got both the grid pattern on the back side of it and then this clear sticker over the front. That's the nice thing about being able to use the clear sticker over any patterned or decorative pieces of paper. We're going to use some more of these in a minute. And then you've got the Natural Beginnings Matte Pack. And I love the cut, like the overall color of this, but my heart, they're just so generic. A Good Day, Here and Now. Love the blue gingham, Everyday Moments, My Special People. So you can use these as is, or I love as well to cut them out to maybe do a little fussy cutting around, you know, so maybe around that area there. They're great for journaling as well. So just loving the ginghams, the colors, the options, snapshot, you know, so we've got lots of options here. But we are going to be picking out and using one of these. There it is, Just Us. We're going to use that for our project that we are going to be completing. So I'll set that aside. So we have our mats, and our mats are 4.5 by 6.5 or 6.5 by 4.5. And then this Buy It All bundle also comes with a Natural Beginnings cardstock sampler pack. So I'm going to show you the colors that are in here. Beautiful, beautiful. It has 2 pieces of avocado. Let's find it here. So we've got 2 pieces of avocado there. Then we have 2 pieces of beige. And now these can also be used when you create the project playbook that is going to also come with this bundle. Then you have 2 sheets of black and 2 sheets of blue, and then 2 sheets of hot fudge that will coordinate with the collection and that you can utilize when creating the playbook. So now let's take a peek at my favorite, the paper packs. So let's take a look first at the Tone on Tones. So there's just a nice variety of patterns, colors, designs. So you see this has a really soft kind of woven look to it. And then the back side, so front and back. And then this too has that woven look, a little bit darker navy. Again, woven in the green, woven in the white, and then woven in the hot fudge or brown. So let me turn this around. So those are all the woven sides and colors. And then we have these muted, there's the blue, a light blue, kind of a lighter green, more of an avocado here, cream, and a tan color. So those are the Tone on Tones. These are perfect for using with the designer paper pack. So the designer is gorgeous as well. And that is going to have, there's 12 sheets in each paper pack. They are double-sided. So here we have this gorgeous pattern there. Kind of reminds me of maybe a wallpaper, right? Similar. And then we've got some green stripes and some green florals. We have a blue and white checkered pattern. Kind of reminds me of a tablecloth, a picnic picnic tablecloth. Then we have some navy blue with white dots. So a brown and another brown. Then a lighter green. And then this one's kind of like looks sponged. It's white and it's got some like green spongy kind of patterns in it. Then we have this lighter blue color. One of my favorites. I'm not sure if you can see that, if that captures that, but this is a wonderful like grid, white with kind of a light blue grid in the background. And then this tan kind of plaid here. So kind of a nice array of palette and patterns with it. So I actually created some projects using this collection, and one of them was this collection layout that I had created, and I'm going to show you guys how to create it. So what we are going to need is tone-on-tone and designer papers. We're going to need embellishments, clear stickers. We're going to need the monthly embellishments. We're going to need the trimmer with a straight blade, a tape runner, a repositionable adhesive, foam squares, a 13-inch mat, and a ruler. Oh, I forgot the border maker system with our new Sunrise Scallop border maker cartridge. So let's go ahead and get started. So I prepped a few things to show you, but let's talk about how we're going to get started for this. So I am going to use this grid style piece of paper, grid pattern, as my base. So I'm going to place that on my mat like so. And then you will see this layout here has 4 strips here that we're going to be punching using the Sunrise Scallop border maker cartridge, but behind them there's little strips. So we need to start with those first. So we need to cut 3 pieces of paper. So I have them cut already. These are going to measure 12 inches by 1 inch. Okay, so we're going to use those on here. We're going to start with this blue one here first. I believe that's the blue we need. We're going to start with this. And we are going to be placing this along the 1 inch horizontal line. So for us to know, we're going to place our zero centering ruler over the top of this, and I am just going to move this so the bottom edge is along 1 inch. So it's going to be 1 inch here and 11 over here. And I'm going to take this and apply some repositionable adhesive, and I'll adhere there right along the 1 inch. All right, now I'm going to move the edge of this up to 2.5. So 2.5 on each side. So I know where that next piece is going to go, and we're going to be using this light blue strip. Again, it measures 12 inches wide by 1 inch tall. So we're going to be placing that just on the edge above there. And then we're going to slide this up to the 4 inch mark. Okay, so we'll place that there at 4. And we're going to be placing this beige strip along the horizontal edge here. Okay, so we'll place that there. what we're going to do is we are going to be punching our border strips. So out of these 4 colors and pieces, and they measure 12 inches wide by 2 inches tall, and you're gonna cut 4 of them. Okay, so I've got two pieces here, but you're gonna want 4, a total of 4 in those patterns. I have, just to save us some time, a couple already punched. But I want to make sure to show you how I can punch both sides on a 2-inch strip. So I'm going to just slide this aside. I am going to need my border maker system, the housing unit, and then our Sunrise Scallop border maker cartridge. We'll place this here in the housing unit, just backwards, drop it in, and it will click into place. And then we are going to place your strip of paper on the tray, okay? But you'll notice if I put it on the tray here and it's all the way out to the edge, if I close this down, there's nothing to magnetize here, so that paper does not go that far. So what am I gonna do to hold this in place? I love sticky notes. Sticky notes are great for so many things. And I have all kinds of sizes, colors, whatever, laying around. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place the sticky note there. So the sticky side is here, so it's holding it in place, but once I put this magnetized bar down, it'll hold it in place here. But I'm going to use like 3 of them, just to keep it kind of steady in its place. So I'll use 3 of those, and then you'll see I make sure that my edge is all the way onto the tray, pushing that down. So now it's held in place on that magnetized bar by the other side of the sticky notes. Okay, so then I'll just fold this tray back here. And you're gonna wanna go a little bit slower just because it's not completely being held by all 12 inches under that magnetized strip. You're gonna line up your little notches here, and we are just going to punch away. But I'm gonna do this kind of daintily, just so I don't tear anything, and so that it stays in place where we need it to. Okay, so there is that side. Now I'm gonna open up this magnetized arm here. I've got these 3 sticky notes, all right, there. So now what I'm gonna do is place these sticky notes here, and here, and here. Okay. Then I'm going to place this right here back into the tray all the way to the right hand edge, placing the magnetized arm down so it's being held in place. Okay, again, we want to go very slow as we are punching this to make sure that we don't pull it out of place. But anytime you use a piece of paper that is too narrow to use with the magnetized arm, this little trick works wonderful. Okay, so here we have it here. We'll just pull off our sticky notes, and now we have this piece ready. So now let's do the same. We'll do it one more time using this navy blue with white polka dots. So I'll go ahead and put my sticky notes there, placing this in the tray, and then putting the arm down. Okay, so now we will go ahead and punch this one edge. Again, being a little bit cautious with that. And then pull these off, turn it around, doing the same thing here. Sometimes you lose the sticky on your sticky notes and you'll have to replace and use a different set, but they last quite a while. Okay, so we will do this here. Sticky notes are kind of a love language of mine. I love, you know, like I said, sizes, colors, decoration, print. It's just awesome. Okay, so we'll pull these off, and then we have our final strip here. All right, so now let's pull our base back, and I still have it centered on the mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this first one, and I'm going to place it here so that the bottom edge is right at 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I want that bottom edge at 1/4 of an inch. And then I'll go ahead and adhere that. I'll start by just using repositionable so I can move it around if I need to. But I've got the bottom edges of those at 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to take the next piece and I am going to place it so that the edges meet up on these, okay? So I have the top edge at 3 inches here, okay? So I'll go ahead and adhere this to this so they slightly overlap there. The next one I'm going to take is the navy with the white dots. And again, kind of the scalloped edge is going to be just lined up with the bottom scalloped edge. Okay, so you see the scallops kind of meet here in the center. And then we'll take this last one and I will match it up with the previous there. All right, so now we have our scallop design there. So we're going to use this brownish colored paper that's got that wallpaper on the back, but we are going to be cutting 3 mats for our photos, and they're going to be vertical photos, and it's going to be 3.5 by 5.5. So I'm going to cut the 5.5 cut first, and then I am going to rotate, cutting at 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5. So you're going to have 3 mats that are 3.5 by 5.5. We are just going to take these and just slightly kind of place them behind the scallop. And I am going to kind of angle these different angles. So I'm going to do kind of the outside 2 first. There. And then we'll place this one here in the center. So this one we want to have also just a tad bit angled. So there we have kind of where we want them to go. So typically then what I do is I'll just lift them and put a couple dabs of repositionable adhesive behind it to hold it in place. All right, so there is our base. So then next what we have to do is create our little embellishment piece. So I'm going to show you what I did here. So I used this envelope, and then I also used the green envelope here. I kind of angled those slightly, but this is where this little mat comes in, the mat that I set aside. So we're going to use the Just Us. But in order for us to fit it into this envelope, we need to cut it. So it measures, let's cut first at the center. But we need to measure it, or cut it so it measures 2 3/8. So 2 3/8. And then by 4 inches. So we'll just cut that down like so. Right, and this is going to be placed inside this envelope here, and I kind of have it angled a little bit so that you can do your journaling and pull it out if you need to. But when you're adhering, you want to make sure that you are putting adhesive here along the top and the bottom. Okay. So that's going to adhere the envelope, but still allow us to pull out this inside piece. So we're going to angle this just slightly, placing that there. All right, next we're going to adhere our green embellishment envelope, and I'm just going to place it kind of horizontal to the edge here. So again, I'll put a couple of, and that's gonna go up and overlap this one slightly. All right, so now we have these fun embellishments here. We've got a green one and a blue one. There's also in our mix this light blue circle embellishment and green. So what I'm going to do is adhere these two, I'm gonna slide that up. I'm gonna adhere these two together. So I'm just creating at this point a visual cluster. And it's kind of going to be, aside from our photos, it's going to be that kind of eye-catching piece that we see. So we have these two round elements, but now this is where we can come over here and we have these two pieces here. So we can adhere the blue clear sticker. If we place it, center it and place it on top of the green, you still see the light blue, but yet you still see the green pattern behind it. So we'll do that one there, and then we will do this kind of light brown or beige one as the center of this one here. So same thing there. So I am going to place this one here. Oops, I'm gonna go over the edge of that. And then I'm going to place this blue one so it goes here in that slot. Okay, so we'll just kind of tuck it in there. Let's go ahead and adhere this piece. So I want to stay with that kind of round element there. So there's also this sticker right here, kind of this circle element, clear, and I'm going to place that just on the edge here. So kind of keeping with that round. You can either fold it over or you can take your scissors and trim it off. But that is going to be going in here like so. All right, Then I want to pull in some of the greenery. So I've got this piece here, and then I have the floral piece here, and I'm just going to take and tuck that kind of behind there. This one I'll place right about there. And then I'm going to take this, remember this, and I'm going to add foam squares to this. I have the new thin foam square tape. So I'm just going to take and place 2 thin strips behind here. We've got a lot of bulk right here right now, and so with tucking and all of that, so I thought thin would be a great idea, or you can use regular foam squares. This one I'm just going to add here, so it is straight there. And then there's these fun arrows here that can also be adhered there. So with that, I'll just take and cut just some small little pieces from this thin. We want it the same depth, so we'll just cut 3 smaller pieces there. Placing those on the back. Okay, and then I'll just kind of overlap that bottom edge there. Okay, so we have that there. Then we'll add one of these small little stickers in the upper left corner there. All right, so now let's go ahead and finish off the top. So I love just having elements that come off the edge. So I'm going to use one of these pieces here, and I'm going to have it come just off the edge here. Now you can use your scissors and cut this off, and then also if you pull the backing off of your sticker here, I'm going to show you, it's going to make it easier. So if you pull this backing off, it's what goes around all of the stickers. So this backing here, okay, that goes around it. If we remove that, it's going to be easier to place our leftover piece here back on that spot instead of trying to get it just right in between. So I'll go ahead and set that aside. We are going to go back to our embellishment pile. We're going to use one of our tags, and we have this piece here. So this is going to get kind of stuck underneath there. So let's go ahead and place those kind of where we want them here. Okay, so this one is going to go at a little bit of an angle there, okay? And then it'll come straight down from the top here. Okay, so then we can just turn this over and trim off any excess. Now, any excess that we are trimming off, we definitely could save to use for future projects if it works. Also, now we're gonna kind of stay consistent with these arrows. So there's this navy blue arrow strip here that we can definitely add here as well. So let's go ahead and, like we did with the previous, we'll use our thin tape here. One more small piece there. And take those off. And place this like so. All right, also on this corner, we are going to add a documented title. So we have this clear title here, and we will add that right there on our light brown. And then over here, we have, sticking with that kind of overall arrow shape from here and here, we're gonna go and place this one over here. But before we do that, I want to pull kind of this design in. Well, we all also have that design here in a clear sticker. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to gently lift up the top of this, and I'm going to place this behind there. Okay, so now you see that background pattern through that. I'll take this and bump it up on a foam square. And I'm gonna put it high enough up on here that I'll still be able to add my photo by tucking it under here without the foam square getting in the way. But now we want to pull in these gems with the rest of it. So we've got like a little circle we can put here, and then down here we can put this little circle so it kind of marries these pieces together there. And then we have this light blue one that we can kind of tuck in there at the top. So kind of pulls that together. Another way that we can pull some of the overall design together is we used this, let me see if I can show you there. Okay, see this little sticker right there? There's several of those. So we can take these and kind of place them around the base of the layout. Just to kind of pull some of that overall design from that piece together. Okay, and then what about tucking them? We can definitely like take and tuck this underneath the edge for that one. And we have one more here, and we could also do the same here. So take and tuck it under that edge so that design kind of follows through. All right, so the only thing left we have to do now is to adhere our photos. And our photos are going to be vertical photos, and they're going to be 3 by 5, and there's 3 of them. You could change this up by rotating it if you had horizontal photos. So you could create your strips vertical. You'd have to rotate your embellishments, but then have your 3 horizontal photos there as well. You could do your journaling right here on this card. You could also do your journaling if you wanted to on any of your strips here. And if they're darker like this, you could definitely use your white jelly roll pen that will show up on that. But that completes this collection layout. And so I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. You've learned a couple of extra little tips and tricks. And happy scrapbooking, friends!